everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Heather. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Minnie. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited. People have been requesting you. So as you guys know, my name is Mandy McGowan. I am the host of this group here, and we have talked Facebook, we have talked Facebook Messenger, we have talked Instagram, we have talked Instagram DMs, and I had several of you reach out to me and you're like, hey, where's our Pinterest stuff? Because we want to get active on Pinterest. And my response was, I don't know anybody in that field, but I will find somebody. And through the amazing power of networking, I found Heather Chi. Yay! So Heather is a Pinterest manager and strategist, and I think I've just got to say this because she told me this earlier, and I think it's so cool. So she had a corporate career in the New York fashion world, and that is actually where she realized the power of Pinterest for small business owners and why she now came over to the good side of entrepreneurship and said, okay, let me do this here. So I'm super, super excited to have you here. Let me just confirm that we are live because there's nothing worse than talking and then being like, oh, nobody heard a darn thing we said.
It was just our party.
The two of us, we're good. Okay, we are live, so we are good. So, Heather, I'm going to let you just kind of take it away. I know you have some slides, so if you want to get those pulled up, we will make sure that we can see those and get those in the feed here.
Perfect.
I just have to tell you, like, your background is so Pinterest worthy as well.
Oh, thank you. You know, I try to keep on brand, and then I'm like, oh, maybe this dress works better with this. You know, I still can't get away from my fashion.
I love it. I'm like, my background is like too busy for a Pinterest worthy image, but yours is beautiful.
Thank you. All right. So I'm just trying to take a moment here and see if I can. Okay.
No worries. So while you're pulling that up, okay, I'm see it. I'm going to get it added here. So as you guys are jumping in live, just say hi, let us know where you're coming from. And if you have any specific questions about Pinterest, please make sure to drop those in and I will make sure that I am addressing those with Heather as we go.
Yes, definitely. So I thought what better opportunity for us to really get visual here and get some slides about what I'm exactly talking about. So what I'll do in the next 15 minutes is really take you through the 5 must-know marketing tips if you're seriously thinking about Pinterest marketing. And we're going to take a moment also to just figure out what Pinterest is, because there is so much mystery around it, right? But I want to start with asking all of you, have you ever asked yourself, how do I explain the service that I want to sell, right? I can't find my ideal clients. I have an amazing product that feels invisible. I don't have time for marketing. You know, I've tried marketing before and I gave up, right? Or you're like, I want to build my email list, but I have not a clue where to begin. Just know that you are part of many. Actually, 61% of total marketers say that their biggest challenges are generating traffic and leads. And this is what makes Pinterest marketing so exciting. Because I understand in the online world, right, that we live, more and more people are entering the online world, especially with this whole movement of COVID, right? So the possibility of ranking high and gaining free, okay, well, talking free organic traffic from Google and other social media platforms is definitely becoming difficult. And I hear it all the time. Every day I'm talking and interviewing with people. They're feeling very overwhelmed and frustrated, right, by getting these inadequate and unsustainable results from their online marketing efforts. So just take a moment to step back and imagine how relieved when you'll feel like your dream clients are connecting with you while you sleep. And you might say that's too good to be true. But I'm here to introduce Pinterest marketing. And basically what that ends up being, with a Pinterest marketing strategy designed just for your business, your brand will have a sustainable online marketing system that will continually send the right message to the right buyer at the right time. And that's pin by pin. And that's what I try to pride myself in helping online entrepreneurs do. So we probably have all went to Pinterest. And Mandy, why don't you give me some examples of why you may have one on Pinterest, and then we'll kind of talk about the mindset people are going to Pinterest with.
So I go to Pinterest to find things. I'm like, oh, like I need a healthy recipe with chicken tonight. And rather than going to Google, I go to Pinterest and I'm like, healthy chicken recipes. I like crafts and hobbies. Like we're going on a big camping trip and we just bought a new to us pop-up camper. And I'm like, oh, like, let me go to Pinterest and find what people do with their campers.
Exactly. So you are talking about all the things which I'm sure everyone else would come to the table with saying they're finding some inspiration from Pinterest, right? So they're aspiring, like you're aspiring for this life that you want to have, either camping or a recipe. So you're going to Pinterest to find those things. So if you take that general idea, the mindset of a Pinterest user is I'm going there to be inspired to find out and figure out how I can have the life I want. So we tap into that. And really what's exciting is with a Pinterest business account, basically you're creating a profile with boards and pins that represent your business. So you're able to put that out into the world. And when someone goes on Pinterest, they're searching for something that your business provides. So that helps people find you and connect with you. So these pins that are out there, right? And I'm sure we've all seen them. We may click on them and they'll bring us to a blog post, a product, a class. Maybe it's an email list generator or an affiliate product. So again, a non-salesy way, someone is directly going to Pinterest with a user mindset that they're in there searching for what they want. And we're there to help them do that. So, I want to take a moment because it's so important to even understand if you're thinking about Pinterest marketing, who is on Pinterest, right? So here's some quick stats I want to share with you. 34% of the users make between 50 to 75,000. So just as I was saying before, and I was talking with Mandy, you are literally going to Pinterest to aspire for the life that you want, and you're carrying it through with that discretionary income to make your dreams come true. 40 is the median age of a user on the platform. And in the last year, we've seen these numbers starting to shift to slightly younger. But as of now, these stats came out of full 2020. 70% of users, as most people would think, are actually women. 30% of users are men. But again, we are seeing some of those shifts, and men are starting to creep up more towards 40% and women to 60%. And 42% of all US women are users on Pinterest. So huge numbers. If you're really targeting women, you are in the right place to get your business out there. Let's dive into Pinterest success numbers too, just to give you a general sense, because I am very analytical and creative, but these numbers I help really give you what success you can have there. So 88% of users purchased a product that they've actually pinned. So as I was saying before, the user mindset is they're going into Pinterest, they're searching, let's say, black sandal. What's coming up are some black sandal options that they'll probably save to a fashion board on their Pinterest profile. And maybe when they're ready to make that purchase, that would go back to that pin and exactly do that. 63% of users say they discover new brands and products to buy. So us online entrepreneurs who are small and don't feel that we have the big traction against our name, we are able to definitely compete with those big retailers because we have the ability to do so once we get our strategy in place. So again, if you're going to the Pinterest search bar, hit black sandal, you're going to see some of those big names on Nordstrom, but you're also going to see those really exciting small guys. So really all the more advantageous for us small business owners. And the average time a user spends per session is 14 minutes. So definitely very engaging, right? Versus our Facebook and Instagram world where we're in and out.
I'm probably above average on that.
Yes, guilty as charged. So definitely.
I always go in with an intention and then I go down a rabbit hole before I realize, oh yeah, I was looking for this.
Right? You get all distracted. And like you said, it's like one thing to one thing. Definitely relate there. So also the other great thing, which again, as a small business owner, to really understand this, 97% of user searches are non-branded. So what does that mean? I'm going into Pinterest and I'm saying black sandal. I'm not saying, Adidas. So all the more reason, those 2 to 3 generalized keywords, if we're able to associate our profile and our pins with them, gives us that much more ability to be found. So just super exciting numbers. All right. So I'm going to go into the 5 tips that I promised you I'd share with you today. Really, Pinterest is a generous platform. And what I mean by that, it exactly sends traffic directly to your website. Or let's say if you wanted your converting sales funnel to be a different place, maybe it's Facebook, a Facebook group, a Facebook post. All you have to do in this sequence is people will go to Pinterest and they'll go into that search bar and they'll type again those 2 to 3 keywords. In this case, we were saying black sandal. I show here an example, a mindset shifts that you need to master yesterday. So somebody might be going and saying mindset, and they will hit search, enter, right? And this graphic comes up. It's a pin on Pinterest. So somebody's going to click it to find out what's on the other side, and then they're led to, in this case, this is one of my clients, they are led to a blog post where that person is a business coach, and she's creating know, like, and trust through her blog post, and able to have people start to really trust her, to get to her email list, and then she's blasting out her specials and her coaching classes. So it all depends on, again, your generating your converting sales funnel and what that looks like and where you want to send people, right? Once traffic is there, it's that cold lead that gets warm and that we then foster with know, like, and trust. And then ultimately we hope in this sequence that we're able to warm them up to that sale. So tip 2, I get a lot of misnomers, so I definitely like to tear this down and make sure it's clear for everyone. Pinterest is a hybrid of social media and a search engine. So this helps you understand and really grasp Pinterest. And I think this is why some people have it, it's such a mystery. It is a visual discovery engine. So just as I was saying, you're opening it up, you're going to a search bar, right? Like you just would in Google. As me and Mandy were talking about before, that chicken recipe, right? You're absolutely going there and maybe saying chicken recipe. You could do that in Google. But what's going to come up in Google is words. What comes up in Pinterest is images, right? So if we kind of understand and grasp that, it really helps you to understand Pinterest is like a computer. It's scanning every image and every word associated with what that pin is about to help index you and understand and suggest your content to those people that are looking for it. You can have the ability to engage. So you can write comments to people, you can write messages, and you can follow people. So that's why we call it, it's really like a Google plus all these Facebook, Instagrams, TikToks, and YouTubes in one. And tip number 3, your Pinterest content lifespan lasts longer than other social media. So here I've just highlighted some of the big guys. So Facebook, really in 6 hours, when you put a post out there, 75% of that engagement is going to happen within those 6 hours. You can get some after that 6 hours, right? But majority would happen in 6 hours. So if you look at that same concept, Instagram, 21 hours, so a little longer. YouTube is 20 days, and Pinterest just blows them all out of the water. 6 months. So, if you're really doing a great job with your content strategy, whether that is through a blog or maybe it's through videos or through a podcast, you're able to create a pin that lives out there forever. And as long as people are searching for what that pin represents, you're able to reap the benefits of free organic traffic. And tip 4, I love to talk about Pinterest can come from beginners. So anyone who tells you otherwise, don't listen. You can definitely have, again, as you have a converting sales funnel that you've finalized, that will help you lay out your roadmap as you go ahead and set up your Pinterest profile and really figure out where you're directing that traffic and what you're going to do once that traffic gets there. So there's no need for some fancy website that's been out there forever that has backlinks and, has been seasoned for years and years. You could literally have a brand new website and be just as successful as someone who's had one for over 10 years. So super, super exciting. And Pinterest in itself loves business accounts. So I get this many times, this question all the time. I have a personal Pinterest account. Can I use it for my business? We want to make sure to utilize the business account because ultimately when Pinterest, and they've said it themselves in their engineering blog, that they love people who have a Pinterest account. The algorithm actually pushes that content over a non-business account. And the reason why they do this is they want to foster this relationship with content creators. I mean, people who have the business accounts are creating Pinterest as the most inspirational corner of the internet, and they definitely want to foster that relationship. So, I always say to people, if you have a personal account right now, you feel like your followers might be interested in following about your business, go ahead and easily convert that. If you feel that your current following would not be interested, then I would suggest just a brand new business account from square one. But super exciting that Pinterest allows that.
So I want to step back to that last slide for a moment. So
Yeah.
is there any downside or upside that we would need to be aware of? So like I'm thinking to I always think selfishly in these things. Sorry, guys.
Go for it.
But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, and I'm actually pulling my Pinterest up right now. But I'm trying to think converting mine over, I have quite a few followers on my personal Pinterest. And I'm so I'd love to be able to carry that over. But then I'm looking at the boards I have and I'm not all of these boards would correlate over with my brand. So then my brain splits and says followers versus brand. What are the pros and cons of doing that?
Yeah, all great questions. So one, you want to make sure that you have followers who are going to engage with what you want to put out there that represents your business. So if you've asked yourself that question and you say, yes, they would definitely engage, that's question one, gate one. Gate two is when you're creating that business profile, and great question, by the way, you want to make it so clear for number one, two sets of people. One, when they land on Mandy's profile, they're going to know that topics associated with that are very clear to your business. So if your business, let's just say, was out there in jewelry, and then you may have had a chicken recipes board, conflict of interest, I'm confused. So making it super clear, if you do have those boards out there and you decide you do want to convert to keep those followers, archive those boards. Do not delete, because we have impressions and a lot of information that still will help your profile that's connected to it that you wouldn't want to lose. So you definitely want to archive those. That'll keep it private, and that only you can see it. And number two, at that point, I would definitely say if you've had so many boards that are very much not like, your business profile, it may just be better to start fresh off and ask those same followers, start following them so that they understand about your business profile. Because remember, Pinterest is a Google. So it also is computing. So everything you're associating with your profile, it's helping Pinterest understand who you are and how to index you so that Pinterest can suggest you when someone may be looking for, a similar keyword or something associated with your business. So again, two reasons. You want to think about really those followers, keeping it real easy for that user experience. And number two is really Pinterest and its brain and helping that computer part of it really easily understand.
So am I understanding this correctly that from your business account, when you're following people on Pinterest, you want to follow people that have similar interests, similar concepts as you, because that's going to push you up in other people's algorithm, right?
Yes, exactly. So that's one of the key strategies I do with people as they start their profile. You may want to be following some competitors, right? And really seeing what they're up to, because as you log in every time into Pinterest, you're going to see a feed, right? Just like you would on Facebook and Instagram. Pinterest has that as well. And you'll see those pins of those competitors and kind of check out what they're doing to start, checking, and maybe there's things that are working for them that you can reinvent, but really inspire you in your, business journey.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, great question though. All right. So really quick, I know we kind of went through them fast, but really highlighting those 5 marketing tips again. Pinterest is a generous platform, again, sending traffic directly to your website. Let's say it was a service, a class, totally possible. Pinterest is a hybrid of social media and a search engine. Pinterest content lifespan lasts longer than other social media. So again, you put the hard work in, you're planting seeds, it takes time, but know that your fruits will grow you that oak tree, and you'll be reaping the benefits for years to come. Pinterest success can come from a beginner, so key, and Pinterest loves business accounts. So really exciting things to always keep in mind as you're kind of starting that Pinterest journey. And really your goals on Pinterest, just kind of highlighting those quickly. So you really, when you have your Pinterest account out there, you have your boards, your pins, you're getting daily lead generation, right? You're getting those click worthy pins posted and people are clicking them and they're sending directly, again, a cold lead exactly to that service, that product, that blog post. You're ultimately making more money, right? Because essentially those cold leads may be taking that step to that purchase and you're going to help them along that journey. You're getting quality leads. So you're not throwing something against the wall and hoping it'll stick and really being salesy. This is putting information out there and the people that want to find it will find you. Ultimately, a lot of people come to me and they're like, I just want to build up my email list. That is great. Put a juicy, free downloadable as a separate landing page. And that landing page can become a pin on Pinterest and you're constantly updating those pins and getting people to subscribe to that email list. Essentially, if you just want to sell affiliate products, right, we could definitely create pins to go back to those affiliate products. Remember, there is that part of that warming up process. So am I selling a product? Maybe I want to put a blog post out there as like a create, know, like, and trust so that they essentially take that final step. And ultimately, as I kept saying, you are increasing website traffic, right, to your own website and you own that real estate. So really those are your main goals and things you'll be doing daily if you felt like this was a good marketing tool for you. So if you're ready to unlock the power of Pinterest marketing, this felt like you got your appetite whet a little today, I give away free complimentary, no obligation, 60-minute phone calls and Zoom these days to really talk a little bit more in depth about what that might mean for your business. And I would definitely encourage you to head to my website, and that's www.heatherchee.com. And you can contact me and we could set something up so that, you can get more information and really figure out if this might be the right thing for your marketing.
Awesome. So knowing the membership we have in this group, I have a couple of questions that I can already hear certain people coming back and asking. So I just want to make sure I ask them so we're proactive there. So many network marketers specifically may not have their own website separate from their page on the corporate website. So is it appropriate, if that's the only site they have, for them to start putting up maybe some promotional stuff on Instagram and link it all back to that site? Or is it better for them to start to create a blog post and then tie it back that way?
Yeah, great question. And I actually have a client who works in this realm too. She sells beauty products. So, you want to make sure that you are captivating your audience. So there is a lot of people who are probably already pinning those corporate images or those stock images. So you really want to stand out amongst the crowd. So if I would say your first goal really is figuring out what that converting sales funnel looks like for you. So again, if you're ultimately leading them to that Facebook group, maybe it is a Facebook post that's giving them information that they cannot easily find about your product. You want to be the person that is, and your content that you put out there on Pinterest should be a bridge so that it makes it so easy for somebody to say yes. So I would suggest, just based on experience, it is a bit hard to just connect them to that web page on the corporate website, considering you're competing with all of these other people that are in this same realm, that are putting those same images out there. Plus, you want to think about, and I use this example, when you're going to a showroom, whether that be for, you're purchasing furniture, right? Most times you're going to want to ask more questions before making that purchase. You're able to walk into that sales room and you're able to ask a live person, well, what about the person that just lands on that page? How are you able to maybe take away those objections or give them more information? That's where that blog post becomes your showroom sales person. So you're like, Heather, I don't want to invest in a website right now. Do not worry. There is a solution. Blogger.com is a great option that's free, where you can create a profile and you could put a great blog post together about, maybe it's like how to use the product. What are the hidden features? We all know that there's product attributes that the company says, but we all know that there's things on the side that it's good for, that aren't so out there, and it gives that information, or a simple YouTube video of just like how to use it, what are the attributes, so that you could then put that into a blog post. And you're again creating that sales funnel, and whatever that looks like for you, whether that means you want to bring them to that email list, that you're blasting out that blog post as your email campaign every week. So just always remember, I always like to set the expectation. It's very hard, and we probably all know this, to lead somebody from a cold lead to I'm buying right away. About actually 10% of people, 10 to 15% of people are ready to buy when they're actually searching. So that just tells us, what are we doing to help bridge that gap? So blogger.com, like I said, is a great free option, and you can bring them to that there. And again, just whatever that would be. But if you're like, I don't want to do that, okay, great. Well, maybe there is that Instagram post, just making sure that you have your call to action, right? Because we're capturing that, where are we leading that traffic? Ultimately, again, is that part of a complimentary session with you that you're ending with? A great call to action. And that's where I see a lot of people making the mistake. They're like, but I have Pinterest out there and I'm doing this. And I'm like, okay, well, where's your converting sales funnel? And knowing that's going to help you provide the keys to how you attack Pinterest and what you end up posting. I hope that helps to shed some more light on what it's like.
Definitely. And then another question that I have a feeling is going to come up is, like when you're on Pinterest, you always see these gorgeous photos, like so perfectly done. And so from, obviously there's Canva that people can create graphics from, but if they're wanting to use more images versus Canva type graphics, how important is it that that photo is super pretty versus just real life?
Yeah, great question. And, it's nice that you have a balance. So like I was just saying, there's a lot of those company corporate stock photos that are, and you even see, if you see something, right, you've seen so many times, you just start to glaze over it. It doesn't really register. So, hey, you know what? If you sell that product, you want to wear it, or you want to showcase it in your own lifestyle shot, go for it. You're going to, and actually, I have my client, when she can get her face on there, people just attach to that because it's real life. I think there's a part of us that is so oversaturated with perfect looking images that it's nice to look at, right? But it may not be the reality. Some of us lose our sight. And I feel like COVID's helped us realize that everybody's a human, right? These TV show hosts that you think are like living in this great grand old house that can never look like yours, right? Well, we've all been seeing their bookshelves that look like, ours in the background, right? So, but with that, I want to make sure to say one other additional thing, which is very important. Just like anything, even when I worked in fashion, really telling people how to do it will help them to take that step. So that's why text overlay is such a great thing. So let's just say my beauty client, like she was talking about acne problems, right? So it's like the acne skincare remedy that you needed yesterday. There's an enticement, there's an urgency behind that text for someone to make that click. So that's also an important to any strategy. So I would definitely say it's a nice balance between the two. And honestly, text overlay is something a lot of people, unless you're a Pinterest guru or just a marketing guru in general, would probably penetrate nicely. And they probably have a lot of that. But then there's a whole slew of people that I feel are missing out on that opportunity and getting that really like juicy reel in from, again, that urgency to make that click.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I had one other question I wanted to ask. So for many of our members, if they do, they're probably going to be in a similar situation like I am, where it may not make sense to convert my personal Pinterest account over to a business account. So like for me, like as I'm going through this, I'm like, okay, I would need to start a new account. Obviously I know that, I go back to like Instagram and Facebook where everybody's like consistent. And I'm sure there's a component of that here as well, but how much is too little to be putting posts up, and how much, like, what's that balance of like, I'm not spamming everybody with posts while I'm getting my page up and running, because obviously you don't want to start telling people about your page if you've got one pin on there and one board. But like, so how much do we want to build up before we really start like telling people to go there versus just getting it organically? And then how often do we need to be adding new pins to stay relevant on there?
Yeah, all really, really great questions. So let me start by saying, when you're starting fresh, ground up, you definitely want to make sure that, because like I said before, Pinterest is like Google. So there is a component of search engine optimization or keyword research that happens. And there is multiple ways to do that. So I think, really going into the search bar and really just searching what you think might be some words associated with your business, hitting search and really seeing what comes up. As you scroll down, you'll see pins, but then you'll start to see these little bubble boxes that are going to give you relatable terms. So you really want to make sure to get 10 solid ideas first and foremost. And I would say the more broad, the better. Where you're going and saying, like for my beauty skincare client, it's like Acne regimens, skincare regimens. We're talking very general, broad names for those boards. I would suggest getting 10 on there. And of those 10 boards, you want to start, this is like a little trick, really getting Pinterest to quickly understand who you're about. So you want to say, like, if it was an Acne board, right? You would go to the search bar, hit Acne, and see what comes up in maybe the top 20 to 30. Start saving some of those pins directly to that board. That way we're subcharging or seeding our boards with things that we know Pinterest understands. So now we're connecting and letting that Pinterest brain understand a little bit more about us. So I would suggest getting about, again, it could be 20 to 30 of those, we call them curated pins from others on those boards. And then that way, slowly building up. So this could be about over a month process. And, depending on what your content output is going forward, let's just say you had one blog post a week, maybe it's 2 blog posts a month. It's going to vary on the amount. You could put as little as 5 pins a day, all the way up to 15. And 20 is like 15 to 20 is like you're really like a guru, like you're like constantly writing content. So anything beyond that 20 is really starting to be spammy. And actually, like I've even noticed with my clients, the lesser but more high quality that content is, the better. So we can't always associate 20 pins means you're going to do great. Like, I'd rather you maybe put 5 to 7 quality pins that really are great and juicy for that user experience, then you'll be able to really leverage that Pinterest strategy. Now, with that being said, you're seeding those boards, you're getting those 10 ideas on there. You're going to wait for like 6 months, potentially 6 to 8 months for, your pins to start really getting traction, for you to start getting those clicks, to your website. So this is definitely not an overnight fix or process, but what is these days, right? Otherwise we'd all be doing that. That magical.
Darn it, I want 1 million followers tomorrow, Heather.
Right? Come on. So, like I said, this is all free and organic. I mean, you could go the paid route, but I honestly don't suggest it. Like, see what works organically. That way, then you're starting to sink your money in later on when you know it already worked organically. So, I would, again, start with the 10 boards, your 20 to 30 pins of other people's content, letting it seed. Another thing to always keep in mind when, let's say, you do start writing those blog posts or you do want to put those products out there, that link associated with that product or that blog post should only be posted once a day. Anything more is considered spammy. Additionally, I want to say this because a lot of people are confused. Hashtags have been dead on Pinterest. If you don't trust me, do a hashtag and search that word and hit search. You're not going to find it's clickable. And actually, it's now starting to be, the bots on Pinterest are, reading that as very spammy. So stay away from, those hashtags in the descriptions. Really write sentences with some keywords that you find that'll help really push your pins up and get an understanding, Pinterest to have an understanding of really what you're about.
Gotcha. So you mentioned that the backlink that you're linking to, if whether that's back to your blog or wherever that is, to only make sure you're posting that once a day. But is it then okay to repurpose that? Like, let's say I have a blog that hits 3 different boards in one blog. I'm going to post it on board 1 today. Can I then go in like 4 days and post it with a different graphic in the other board, but leading back to that same link?
Yes. And you definitely want to be careful with new accounts. I would suggest the spacing it out. So you definitely want to have a couple days in between before reposting that again. And be careful with the cadence of how you're posting to those boards. So let's say at a self-care board, I'd probably put that out once a week. I would go to that board. That way, once again, we're not spamming the system and only putting self-care every single day, because we start getting docked in the system of things. And that's all part of a strategy. But you want to make sure, again, also always keeping in mind the user experience. So putting yourself out of your own shoes and saying, but if I saw this topic every day or this board, wouldn't I also get like, ooh, you know? So the more you can think about that, the better it is. But again, best practices, posting once, once a week to that one board, and then rotating accordingly. Again, with that same URL, waiting at least a couple days before reposting that, especially on a new account.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I know we have gone way over the time I told you we'd be at, and I'm sorry. And guys, I know we've gone over the time that you are used to me being at, but this was amazing. There was so much good content in here. So I just want to do a quick recap just on some of the notes I took. And then if you guys have questions, make sure to drop them in, and I will make sure that we get Heather in here to answer those. But Pinterest is basically free traffic, and it's inspiration driven. So make sure that, you know, we want to balance our pretty professional, like stock photos with like, hey, this is real life and it's a mess in here.
We love that mess.
Yeah. Have somewhere to link your original content back to, whether that's a video on YouTube or Facebook, podcast, blog, something like that. But what I think was probably the biggest aha moment for me was every time I thought of doing a Pinterest business page, I'm like, man, that's so much original content I have to put out. And I'm like, wait a minute. But I don't, because it's really just, I can treat it almost similar to my personal page where I can pin things that line with my beliefs and my pillars and those things. And it doesn't all have to be original, but we also don't want to just pin other people's stuff. We want to put our own stuff in there as well.
Exactly. And again, repurposing your content, right? So it's that one blog post about self-care, but there's so many different ways you can spin that to go back to those other boards. So really being strategic and thinking about that. So you're ultimately doing less, but you're putting out more for that content. Yeah. So that also helps.
So one blog post could realistically give you several weeks, several different boards of contents with just a different graphic on it.
Mm-hmm. And a different message. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, this was so amazing, Heather. Thank you so much. I appreciate not only you coming prepared, but letting me throw just random questions at you as we went that came into my mind.
Love it.
I will make sure that when this video actually uploads to Facebook and it shows live, I will make sure that we get your website in the description of it so that people can go there. And then if anybody has any questions, I will make sure to get you in contact with them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mandy. I love the questions. I love the energy and just the opportunity to talk about Pinterest. I mean, because it is such a scratch your head, like I don't get it. So I hope I was able to enlighten some of that for you today, but I so appreciate the opportunity. And again, I would love to talk to anyone who wants to know more.
Awesome. So if you guys have any Pinterest questions, take advantage of her complimentary no obligation phone call. Let's fill her schedule for the next several weeks. And like, if you're serious about Pinterest, let's get you on the phone with her or on Zoom these days, as she said, and let's start to figure out how you can just take over the Pinterest world for your business.
Yes.
So, awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.